Good morning, and I'm starting today with a bath. It's an absolutely beautiful sunny day out. Izzy's doing her maths at the moment. I've been doing the usual thing, sorting the vlog out. This is not very hot. Turn that down a bit, then it goes hotter. Nothing worse than a lukewarm bath and you're expecting a lovely hot one. I'm out of the bath and Izzy's produced some maths for me while I was in it. I think I'd better sort my hair out. It looks like a giant turban at the moment. Yay! There goes an Izzy. Randomly walking past with a bowl of mandarin oranges out of a tin. Let's cross that one off there. Izzy is growth spurting like crazy at the moment. I've never seen her grow so fast. Right before my eyes. Rather unusually, Izzy has asked to do double maths this morning and not do it later. She wants to just have a little break now and then do another hour of maths to just crack on with it and get it out of the way. So I've said, okay, that's fine. So I think I'm going to practice my flute now, which I normally do when she's doing her maths later. I'm nearly at the end of my practice hour here. I've just been doing arpeggios and I've been going through them really, really, really slowly, like da 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 speed, and really trying to focus on the tone and those intervals between the notes and just getting them really crisp and spot on. And you'd be amazed over the years, if you don't do slow practice, like really slow practice, you can get sloppy and not realise. So might as well work on those now during the lockdown while I haven't got to work on any repertoire. I've worked up a massive appetite now with all that blowing. Well, it is lunchtime, so I'm having heated up leftovers from yesterday, which is quinoa, and there's some cauliflower in there, peppers, green beans, a little bit of mushroom, but I ran out. Chickpeas, did I say that? There's loads of coconut oil in that one. You see, after I dished Izzy's up yesterday, I attacked it with all the things that she's allergic to and just totally spiced it up to my preference. But I think she's just going to eat tinned ravioli for her lunch, which is what she fancies. Oh, it's nice. I've got all sleepy now. I'm making coffee. I'm going to quickly just wash up a few bits just while the coffee pot is boiling, and then wake myself up and do biology with Isabel, which is continuing on the rate of photosynthesis, and we only got so far into our video yesterday, so we're going to carry on from where we left off with that. Ravioli tin, nice. I started washing up earlier. I put it into soak before I went to play my flute. It's amazing what you can get done in just the odd couple of minutes here and there. They do add up over the course of the day. A few minutes while the kettle's boiling a couple of times. Does make a bit of a difference. The trick is not to look at social media, which I need to learn. I'm trying to be really disciplined and just not go on idle looks at Facebook while the kettle's boiling and things like that, because it's fatal. There, I did a bit. There's still some left though. More keeps coming and appearing like magic.
As the temperature though begins to increase, so does photosynthesis. It loves it.
We've got our video paused here. There's an exam style question on the screen and Isabel's just having a quick attempt at it now. But it's based on a bit we watched yesterday, so this isn't completely fresh in her mind. I'm going to sneak off and do some hoovering while she's answering those exam questions. She's going to have a good hard think about it. She's been brilliant today at science.
Not very sneaky when you're sticking a camera at me.
Oh yeah, fair point. Sometime later now, Izzy's been having a go at the practice questions, haven't you, Iz? And she's just drawing some graphs by copying them at the moment. She needs to learn the patterns of them for the exam. My washing up has slowly been progressing. She's been sitting and writing another question, so I've just nipped off and done another couple of minutes of tidying. It is very hard as a home educator to just devote a load of hours to housework. It's just, it doesn't happen. As a single parent home educator, you know. So the way I manage the housework is not doing as much as I should. But quite often it's literally just done ad hoc in little tiny dribs and drabs throughout the day like this. Like she'd just be writing something for 5 minutes and I'll nip up and clean the bathroom sink, and she'll literally be pen to paper and I'm thinking, right, that's going to take her 5 minutes. What can I do in 5 minutes? Clean the toilet. And then I'm back down again, and she calls me when she's ready. And I try to get it done really quickly.
I will give an example.
Oh yeah, of what?
I'm done.
Oh, she's done. She's calling me because she's done. Okay.
I'm done.
Oh, we need to say hello to somebody. Can you remember who it is?
Hi, Riley.
She remembered. Riley! Right, let's get back to work. Izzy's gone upstairs for her half-an-hour break now after science. I'm just trying to find some alternative videos on YouTube to explain the rate of photosynthesis, but fair play to her, she made a massive effort today. For the first time, really, she's really tried hard with science, but there was kind of a pattern to it, and I wanted to talk about emotions and learning. I wonder if there's like a pattern of a sequence of emotions that's really conducive to enhancing learning, and I wonder if this has been studied, and I bet it has. So when she started out today with the science, she was refreshed after her lunch, and she was keen today to make a big effort to take it all in. And she started out and she paid good attention to the video. I think she felt that she was taking it all in, but when it came to the little practice questions, it was evident eventually that she hadn't taken it in, but she didn't realise. So she set about very diligently writing the answers out to these questions, and the emotions were enthusiastic, keen, proud, positive, really good positive emotions. She was on a high. And then when the marking scheme came up on the screen and the lady was talking about the answers that should have been made, the bullet points, you know, 1 bullet point for each mark's worth, it was like poor old Izzy was deflated. And so the emotions had started high, they'd gone higher because she felt really proud of the effort she was making, and then it was like deflated again. And then the motivation went, I noticed then, when she was feeling negative and demoralised and discouraged, she was demotivated. So this is what made me think, you know, is there a way we could manufacture this whole education process so that their emotions are conducive to learning?
In dim light than other species. If there is insufficient carbon dioxide in the air, then photosynthesis cannot occur at the maximum rate.
Emma the Teachy looks interesting. I'll save her to the playlist as well, I think. Haven't watched it all yet, but on first inspection it looks the sort of thing Izzy would go for. There are quite a lot of these teacher tubers on YouTube, if you look around, coming up with little channels, and I've noticed what they do to monetize their channel beyond just ad revenue is, of course, the videos are free for everybody to watch, so it's accessible free education for all, but they quite often make their own textbooks and workbooks to accompany the materials that they are talking about in their videos. And I've never tried one, never bought one, but that's quite a good way to monetize it. You know, they're going to then make money on sales. So yes, they are offering the videos for free, but then anyone with a bit of income that can afford to buy additional materials with their, you know, favourite YouTube teacher, they can get them and supplement their learning. So we'll watch this one for a bit. I've subscribed, we'll see how we get on. You know, different kids click with different personalities on YouTube, don't they? And different adults do as well, you know. Quite often it's not about the production of the video, it's whether you feel you're on the wavelength of the person talking to the camera, whether you feel like you'd be friends with them in real life. And so I think it is worth checking out all the different teacher tubers and study tubers to see which one you feel on the same wavelength as, because they can really motivate you and end up changing your life.
Well, that's not all. They also provide oxygen for the planet for us to breathe.
I'm literally just scribbling in the diary what we're going to do with the rest of this topic for biology while it's fresh in my mind after I've just done it. So I've made a note of where we stopped the last video that we were watching, so we need to carry on from there. I want to go through the revision sheets with her because we can really go at our own pace. It really is quite a different animal going through the revision sheets together because it can really break it down into tiny little chunks. I'm able to observe her sort of body language and I can tell if she's understanding it or if she's engaging or not, and so I can just constantly adapt my approach to try and make it more interesting, probe her with more questions to try and get her to engage a bit more. For us, that's definitely an essential part of this absorption of the topic process, because just watching the video is too passive, definitely. I have said this before in here, but if you can be continuously adding videos to revision playlists as you go along, you've got a lovely big playlist to watch then during the revision period for a bit of slightly more passive revision, or even active if you want to stop and start it and take notes, whatever. I'm beginning to regret not doing slightly more specific playlists. You see, I've just got like IGCSE biology playlist, whereas what I should have done was have it divided by subtopic, really. So that's going to be time consuming now at this stage to go back and change it all. So if you're starting from scratch with setting up revision playlists now, it might be a good idea to do it under topic headings, and don't just do it under biology like I did. So this is where we're at with today. She did that maths earlier, so we've actually only got 2 hours to do. So the first hour is going to be going through that spelling book, and the second hour is watching Inspector Calls, which is going to be fun and relaxing and enjoyable and completely non-taxing. So we'll save that till last. We're not doing history today. That's that done for today. And the graph paper can go back in the maths drawer for now, until I can think of somewhere better to keep it. We ran out of graph paper, and of course we're in the lockdown, so I didn't want to go out and buy some more, so just printed it off from the internet. There's loads of sites you can just print graph paper off from if you get stuck. You can kind of customise them on the websites. Just type in, you know, how big you want them, whether you want those little individual squares within the centimetre squares. So you can do simpler ones for younger children as well. 2 minutes into English and we're already laughing. I'm laughing because it seems so ridiculous that kids would even consider using text talk in an exam. But Isabel is laughing for different reasons. She says it's completely dated, and she's about to tell us what it would be for nowadays. Apparently this is old. This is old text speak. I wouldn't know.
Like, people still use that.
Yeah.
I have never seen this before.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
normally just thanks with a KS.
Oh.
That's what I do. And cause, it's cuz.
Oh, is it? Is
Yeah.
that changed now, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's
what about
cuz.
night?
Well, I don't talk about that. I just spell it the normal way. To be fair, I spell all of these things the right way in text.
Do you?
Just because this looks ridiculous.
What about later? How would you write later in a text?
How do people say? I just wrote later.
Not L8ER then.
No. Why would people do later like that?
I don't know. Maybe you're unusual.
Maybe.
Do you use abbreviations in your texts?
I say LOL and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And for I know right, we do IKR, but that's normal these days.
Yeah. I suppose when texting years ago, there wasn't predictive text. So maybe that's why. Now it's probably quicker to just use the predictive text.
No, to be honest, I do TBH.
Yeah, acronyms. They've come in.
Yeah, I do acronyms, but I don't do like abbreviations.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there we are. The lesson is don't use these in your exam. I think you knew that anyway, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
This is an example of what not to write in your GCSE literature exam. It's like, oh, and then Mr. Darcy with totes LOLing at Elizabeth's dumb mistake.
Look what we're on to next. Look.
Oh, I'm so
British
bad at
spelling
this.
versus American spelling.
I'm bad at this.
Are you?
Like colour. Well, I do colour the English way, but like there are loads of words that I'm used to saying in American because I've seen loads of American TV. Analyze looks wrong to me with this edit. This looks right.
Yeah, me too.
But what I don't understand is why do Americans say pants for trousers?
Okay, we're going off topic now. I know pants are like underwear in British English.
Know. And why do you say sidewalk instead of pavement?
Oh, and while we're onto the subject of Americans, did you know that sticking your 2 fingers up with the back of your hand facing
Like
forwards.
that, but the other way around.
Look, she can't even do it. It's swearing in British.
Yeah.
Like loads of kids, American kids, in their thumbnails and their YouTube videos, they're like doing the 2 fingers up.
Yeah, like they're going like this. I'm doing it the other way instead of the other way because it's rude. They're like, oh, and then number 2, and we're like,
oh, they're swearing.
How rude.
I had no idea Americans spelt jewellery like that. Jewellery. It's like got an extra syllables worth in ours. That's a really common one, isn't it? Lose and loose. Izzy knows it from song lyrics, don't you?
Don't lose your head.
Oh, we've called this a day for this after 35 minutes. It was going well, but it's skimming through the topics quite quickly, and I just didn't want to do too many with her in one chunk because I just felt that she'd had enough and she needs to let that settle in before she does another stint at it, so only 35 minutes of that one today. I'm trying to collect up some spelling mistakes of Izzy so I can get 10 and then draw up some worksheets to help her to learn those 10 spellings until she's got them. But she's frustratingly not doing very many. I should be pleased, really. I was remembering what I used to do the other day. I'd forgotten. What I used to do was I'd get 10 spellings based on her mistakes on the go at any one time every week. And they'd be like the focus words of that week. And I would print out a little booklet of 5 worksheets, one for every day of the week, school days of the week. And they'd be things like a word search with those words in, a crossword with those words in. And back then in those days, things like the little boxes, you know, so you can see the shape of the word, so like a tall box for a tall letter and like a box that goes under the line for a G, and because you can auto-generate them. There's websites out there where you can generate spelling worksheets. I can't remember where they are, but when I do, I'll let you know, because that's what I'm intending to do now, but I need to make them a little bit more age appropriate for age 15 now, I think. Yeah, and I used to I'd break the words into sections as well. So if there was like a double letter sound that made one sound, like OU for instance, I would do them in a different colour to draw attention to them. So it was very, very visual. I invited the LEA over to do a dyslexia assessment on Izzy when she was little. I can't remember what age she was, 10, something like that. We've been at it quite a few years, and I was just absolutely beside myself. I didn't know what more I could possibly do to help her to learn to spell. And the LEA said I was doing everything and way more than they would do in a school with regards to phonics and spelling. They thought she probably was on the dyslexic spectrum. They did an assessment, but I think it was about an hour or something like that I spent with her. I also went to Dyslexia Action in Cardiff, and they do a free consultation with you. The actual assessment is like 300 and something quid or something, so that was way out of our price range. So she's never been assessed formally, but they went through all the folders of work that we'd been doing, and they said we were doing way, way more than they would get even like with specialist support in a school. The only thing that we weren't doing that they could possibly suggest was to use the Nessy software. So we did subscribe to Nessy for 2 years, it was very good. It's an online subscription-based spelling program. So they work on their own online, so it's good, gives you 20 minutes to go and do the washing up. It's a bit like Reading Eggs. I don't know if you've done Reading Eggs. You can trial that for free, Reading Eggs. Google that if you've got a young reader still learning to read, maybe up to about age 12 or 13, Reading Eggs is good. But Nessie's it goes beyond that. It's for older children that are struggling to read and write and spell. Anyway, Dyslexia Action thought she was dyslexic as well, but they said don't get her assessed now because apparently your dyslexia certificate expires after a certain number of years, and it would have expired before she was to sit her GCSEs. So, which is ridiculous because dyslexia does not expire, it stays with you for your whole life. But there we are, go figure. Anyway, where I was going with that is no matter how much work we would do on learning individual words, she'd remember them long enough to do like a sort of schooly style spelling test while they were fresh in her memory after that week. A couple of weeks later, just writing a freestyly story, poof, completely gone, absolutely gone. So I worked actively on her spelling with her for years and years and years, but the last couple of years I've just, out of utter despair really and not knowing what else I could possibly do, I've let it go a bit really. I've just kind of accepted that she's just going to make a lot of spelling mistakes and just have to learn to check her work. But when she reads over it, she doesn't see them. So... But anyway, right now, she's finished her course for English GCSE. So now I'm going to use this time to really try and have another resurgence now with this age 15 level self-motivation and see if we can get a grapple hold back into it now and make some progress between now and the exam sit-ins. Dyslexia Action at the time said that normally they would recommend a one-to-one tutor session for the child with that level of dyslexia, but they looked at everything that I'd done with her in this massive big thick folder that I collected up, and they said that's exactly what they would do. You're already doing exactly what the tutor would do, so really it's not going to give you anything extra. But it's frustrating though, because we have spent such a disproportionately huge amount of time just on phonics and spelling over the years, and it's at the exclusion of other things then, because you haven't got time to do other things because you've spent so long every single day on phonics. We'd been doing some spelling quizzes out of this book anyway, and there's a few in there. So I've generated a little list of 10 for the first week, and I'm going to have a quick look now before we do literature to see if there is any word search generating pages on the internet somewhere. Here we are, came up straight away, the wordsearch.com/maker. Put your subject in and description if you want, don't have to. And then you input your words. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in multiple times. So she's looking at the same word a lot of times, just so hopefully the repetition will help. There's room for 30 words, so I'm going to do them each 3 times. It seems to be objecting to me putting it in twice. Well, 3 times. I'll see if I can get away with it. No, it won't let me do it with repeated words. That's annoying. I've done it. It's printing. This is puzzlemaker.discoveryeducation.com. There we are. That's massive. I'm not quite sure how effective this is going to be, but, you know, we'll give it a go. It's worth a try. Going for a bit of positive mental projection there. Psychology, see? I've done her 4, all with exactly the same words in. We'll see how she gets on. She might find it excessively dull, in which case we won't continue with it, but it's a few days worth then. Then I could give her a little spelling test at the end of it, I suppose. She'll probably get them right in the spelling test, and then a few weeks later forget them all again. I think that's probably what's going to happen. That's my prediction, but I could be wrong. I've just thought of another little home education related thought, which is, when, for instance, your child is struggling in one particular area, for example, spelling or maths, the tendency, I think, of the home educating parent is to focus more on that and to skim more quickly through things that they do easily. But the result of that is that they spend a disproportionately large amount of their time doing something that they find difficult and struggle with. And what's the effect of that psychologically? If they're spending so long struggling on something and being reminded during that time that they're not very good at this, like, I know you try to be affirming with them, but at the end of the day, they're trying repeatedly and still struggling, you know, years later with the same thing. I thought that was something to think about. I have no answers, that's just a question. I really fancy eating some popcorn while we watch Inspector Calls, so I'm going to make some. I actually bought Isabel this popcorn maker for Christmas. Let me just... I've got to go get a bowl quick. You see them, they're going round and round. This is spectacular once it gets going. There's a very hot waft coming out of it. It's starting to pop. Here they come! Steaming the camera up. Oh, it's like the magic porridge pot. Oh my goodness, it needs to stop now. There's loads in there. I think that's it. Let me turn it off quick. Well, we've watched all the rest of that 1982 version of An Inspector Calls. It was very good. I thoroughly recommend that. It's 6 o'clock in the evening and we're just about done for the day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.